You read it twice, then a third time, just to make sure you read it right. Someone just said something about you, to your face or behind your back. It doesn't matter which, and your whole body responds before your mind even catches up. Heart rate up, jaw tight, fingers already typing the reply that's going to set the record straight. You've done this before. You know exactly how it ends. You send it. You feel a flash of relief, and then nothing changes. They don't suddenly understand. You just handed them proof that it landed. Here's the strange part. The people who actually seem untouchable, the ones nothing seems to get to, aren't smarter than you, and they're not colder than you. They just figured out something that sounds almost too simple to be real. The reaction is a choice. The explanation is a choice. Even the attention you give it is a choice. One of them proved it so completely that he got hit in public, and afterward, he genuinely couldn't remember it happening. 2,000 years before, group chats and comment sections, a man born into slavery figured out the one thing about human beings that hasn't changed since. It was never really about what happens to you. His name was Epictetus. He had no say over his own body, his schedule, or his future. Those belong to someone else entirely. If Stoicism has an origin point, it's here, in a life with almost nothing left to control, which is exactly why what he discovered matters. He wasn't a wealthy man theorizing about freedom from a comfortable chair. He was working out under conditions most of us will never have to survive, where the actual boundary of his own power sat. And here's what he landed on: not control everything you can. The opposite. There is a hard line running straight through the middle of your life. On one side, your body, your possessions, your reputation, other people's opinions of you. None of it, he said, is actually yours to command. On the other side, your judgments, your choices, your reactions, and that side is completely, permanently yours. Nobody can cross that line without your permission. Not the man giving the order, not the person who insulted you today. That's the stakes of everything that follows. Not, how do I stop people from doing things to me? But, how much of my own mind have I been handing over for free? Epictetus put it in a single line his students wrote down and never let go of. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. Read that again, slowly. He's not saying the insult didn't happen. He's saying the anger is a separate event, one that occurs entirely inside you, seconds after the first one, and which you're the only person with the authority to create. Think about what that actually means the next time someone cuts you off in traffic, or a coworker takes credit for your work, or a stranger online decides you're worth insulting. The event is over in a second. What comes after, the tightened chest, the imagined comeback, the hour you lose replaying it, none of that was handed to you. You built it, in real time, out of nothing they gave you. That's uncomfortable to hear because it removes the excuse. They made me angry quietly becomes, I decided to be angry and I did it fast enough that it felt automatic. Epictetus isn't asking you to feel nothing. He's pointing at the half-second gap between the provocation and your response and telling you that gap is where you actually live. If Epictetus had almost no power, Marcus Aurelius had almost all of it. And somehow, that made this harder, not easier. Every decision he made as emperor was second-guessed by advisors, senators, generals, and a public that never stopped watching. He had more reason than almost anyone in history to defend himself constantly. Instead, in the private notebook historians now call meditations, never meant for anyone else to read, he kept talking himself out of it. He wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." Sit with that, because it's aimed directly at the impulse to explain yourself. Why do we do it? Not because we're unsure we're right. Usually we're certain. We explain because some part of us needs them to also believe it. We've quietly outsourced our own verdict on ourselves to whoever's currently criticizing us. Marcus's answer wasn't silence out of weakness. It was a refusal to keep handing the gavel to someone else. "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy," he wrote. "Not beat them in the argument, not make them understand. Just don't become someone who needs the last word." Here's the part that should unsettle you. Epictetus, teaching us not to react, was making the same discovery as an emperor with unlimited power, to react however he wanted. The lesson doesn't change based on how much power you have. It only gets harder to apply the more power you're given, because the temptation to use it grows right alongside it. Now for the man both of them were quietly pointing back to. A century before Epictetus ever taught this, and 2 centuries before Marcus lived it in private, one Stoic had already taken it further than either of them would. In public, with witnesses. Cato the Younger was one of Rome's most stubborn moral figures, the kind of man who made enemies simply by refusing to bend. One day, visiting the public baths, a stranger shoved him and struck him in front of everyone. A crowd like that reacts fast. People pulled the men apart, and once things settled, the man who'd struck him, realizing exactly who he'd just hit, came back to apologize. Cato refused to accept it, not out of anger, because of what he said next. "I don't even remember being struck." He wasn't performing forgiveness. He wasn't pretending either. Seneca, who recorded the story specifically because it sounded almost unbelievable, put it this way: "The most contemptuous form of revenge is not to deem one's adversary worth taking vengeance upon." Cato didn't need to forgive the man, because forgiveness still requires acknowledging the event mattered enough to need forgiving. He simply refused to let it register as something that had happened to him at all. This is Epictetus's half-second gap, stretched out until it swallows the entire event. This is Marcus's refusal to need the world's approval, taken so far that even physical violence doesn't earn a response. React, explain, ignore were never 3 separate skills. It's one skill, practiced until there's almost nothing left for anyone to grab onto. And Cato had already proven, before either of the others put it into words, that it could be lived, not just believed. You're not going to get hit in a bathhouse this week, but you're going to get a message that stings, a comment that's unfair, a person who's trying, whether they know it or not, to see how far they can push you before you push back. Break, and now you have 3 widening rings to test yourself against. Epictetus: "Is this reaction actually mine, or did I just hand it over without noticing?" Marcus: "Am I explaining myself because I need to, or because some part of me still needs their permission to be right?" Cato: "What would it look like if this simply didn't reach me at all? Not because I'm pretending it didn't happen, but because I've decided it isn't worth the space in my head? None of this makes you cold. It makes you the only person with a key to your own reaction. Most people never even realize there's a lock there." Break. If this hit something, tell me which one is hardest for you. The reacting, the explaining, or the ignoring? Like this if it landed, and subscribe if you want more of this kind of thinking every week.